Music. It's something we hear with our ears and it makes us feel things. Sometimes it makes us do a little smile, sometimes it makes us do a little cry. Now, it's pretty obvious that music is incredibly important when it comes to film. And the soundtrack of a film is an area that sometimes does get neglected a little bit. I think more and more these days you'll get situations where a director will go, oh, remember this really good soundtrack from this film? Just make something similar for my film. And oftentimes what you end up with then is a soundtrack that's a bit forgettable. Having said that though, animated films seem to rarely drop the ball when it comes to music. Animation and music have always seemed to go hand in hand. So today I wanted to talk about some of my favourite film and TV scores. I'm a very passionate guy when it comes to this. I really love music and I've got like a full playlist on Spotify just of film scores. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm sorry to say that pretty much all of my favourite soundtracks do come from the world of anime, and I'm sure when I say that most of you are going to be thinking, oh, he's going to bring up some trashy anime intros, and I'm not going to lie, I was considering it. But there's actually so much really good classical music that comes from the world of Japanese animation, and I'm not usually someone who likes classical music, but ironically watching anime actually kind of got me into it. And the first and main composer that I think really helped to do that is Joe Hisaishi. If you aren't familiar with the name, basically, if you've ever watched any of the big Studio Ghibli movies, you will have been affected by his music. You know, Ponyo, Spirited Away, Castle in the Sky, My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, loads of them basically, and they're all completely full of iconic songs. I think Joe Hisaishi has a really great knowledge of chord progressions and how they emotionally impact the viewer. I really admire his use of strings because I never really used to like the sound of the violin, but in his pieces they seem so floaty, I suppose. I often find that the kind of crescendo moments of his songs really swim around your head in kind of a satisfying way. He's also really good when it comes to tying a melody into a character or location. It's something in film they call a motif. It basically serves as kind of a musical reminder of the emotional connection you have with a character or a place. And when you listen to Joe Hisaishi's scores, what you'll find is a lot of these motifs kind of interact with each other and flow into each other. So yeah, he's a really incredible composer. And obviously, in my wildest dreams, I would love my film to be scored in a Joe Hisaishi-esque way. But realistically, unless he does it himself, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. And also, a lot of his music is very rich and very full, and I don't think that's necessarily the vibe that I want to go for in my film. My film, of course, being a big mountain. And actually a lot of my favourite parts of Joe Hisaishi's songs are kind of the more delicate parts, filled with more sort of light piano and xylophone. Let me think of an example. There's two from Ponyo that are really good. The Empty Bucket and the other one's called Night Signals. So in summary, I won't be trying to emulate him, but I would like to take inspiration from those sort of more quiet moments, I think. And speaking of more gentle moments, that brings me on to my favourite composer of all time, I think, and that is Kensuke Ushio. He's probably most famous for his work on A Silent Voice, but he's also done films like Liz and the Bluebird, and he's scored series like Ping Pong the Animation, Japan Sinks 2020, as well as so many others. His music is really beautiful and just really different to anything else out there. The way he records or processes the sounds and samples that he uses kind of makes his music have what might be considered a bit of a low production quality, but it gives his music this really cozy and lo-fi kind of feel that I really love. I think one thing I really admire about him is his use of texture. All of his songs are full of what is basically like ASMR sounds. It's difficult to describe. It's like all of the instruments he uses have this really satisfying kind of crunch to them, and he creates a really good ambience that just kind of tickles the right part of your brain. It's similar, I suppose, to listening to rain noises or the feeling you get when you listen to the kind of vinyl crackle of a record, but it's woven really cleverly amongst these beautiful piano melodies. And just on the emotional impact of his songs, his timing's really great, so there's a lot of moments where he'll have been slowly building up the song for quite a while, and then as some important event in the film happens, the music will suddenly drop away, and then he'll just hit you right in the feels with like the most beautiful little tune ever. The best example of this I can think of, and it is a spoiler for A Silent Voice, so skip to this time code if you don't want A Silent Voice spoiled for you right now, is throughout the film Ishida, the main character, has been struggling with social anxiety, and this is kind of visually represented through these big blue crosses that have been across everyone's face, and at the end of the film there's this moment where all of the blue X's just drop off all in sync, and it does exactly what I was talking about before. I'll try and see if I can find a bit of that scene just to put in here. Anyway, I've talked for ages at this point, but now I'm going to try and make something of my own.
Battery 100%.
Perfect. So my goal today isn't to come up with anything too substantial. I mean, don't be expecting much because I am using GarageBand on my iPad. But also, I'm just pretty inexperienced when it comes to any sort of music production. This is just to give you an example of the kind of music that I'm imagining fitting into my film. If I had to name some types of music that I think this will end up maybe similar to, I would say I'm looking for something that's a mixture between In Love with a Ghost, if you've ever listened to them, maybe a bit sort of quirky like the music from Earthbound, which I've been playing through recently, which is a really good game, maybe with a bit of an essence of Animal Crossing as well. And then, like I said, I really love the music of Kensuke Ushio, and also of course Joe Hisaishi, but I think that's aiming very high. What I've done is I went on Instagram and I've just tried to find a couple of samples to start me off. So I ended up finding these really cool like cassette tape samples on a page called blank4.ms, I think. And I also found this really nice guitar riff from, oh, I've forgotten his name. I'll try and put him on the screen here. First though, I don't think I'm going to use those samples. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and sample a whistle in, because I usually like the sound of just whistling into the microphone and then tuning it up. So let's try and do that. There you go, that'll probably do. I think maybe I could make like a little tune for the Weatherman character. To be honest, I think it sounds quite nice on its own. Let's see what else we can try though. That works. Okay, I think that's that piece done. I'll play these in full afterwards, by the way. I think I'm now going to try and use those samples. I think I could use that bit, maybe. That's kind of cute. I'm not really sure what to do with this. It sounds really nice, but... I think that's good. It's sounding kind of drowsy at the moment. I don't know if you know what I mean by that. But I'm gonna add in like a little yawn sound effect. Yeah, anyway, I think I'm done there. So my original plan was to have these songs play over some footage of me doing some watercolours, because I did some watercolours a couple of days ago. Turns out watercolours are quite difficult. So yeah, just what I did was pretty underwhelming. So instead what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to underlay these songs underneath a load of the fan art that you've all sent me in on the BogBoy Discord. Because people have been sending in some like really genuinely good stuff, and I have showcased it a little bit in previous videos, but I don't think I've ever properly displayed it. Yeah, so enjoy listening to these little tunes that I've made today, but stick around because I've actually got one more idea for a song after this. So I will see you in a couple of minutes time. Right, so I've talked about it before, but in my film there is a big fat panda character who's kind of the king of this bamboo forest. And a couple of days ago I sat down with my terrible Casio keyboard and I came up with a little tune, and I guess my idea is that maybe he could sing it to the main characters, just as a little sort of hospitality thing as they're staying over with him. Anyway, I'll cut to me doing a terrible little rendition of this song. Hey guys! So this is very much a work in progress, I will say that much. I probably already said this in the previous clip, but this is a little tune that the kind of king of the forest, this big fat panda, will sing. He won't actually be singing this in English, it'll be more sort of like a cute computerized like Animal Crossing voice or something like that. But I wrote lyrics to it anyway because it seemed appropriate. And it goes a little something like this. Old Mr. Shrubbery wearing a flower pot, trying to weed out his head. Scissors and secateurs, weed killer doesn't work, soil all dried up at his bed. And he wants to be rid of his brambles and thistles, but they seem to have taken root. He'd be full up with sunshine and growing in no time if vines didn't cling to his shoot. Oh, poor Mr. Shrubbery, you are not long for this world. Oh, hear my request one more time, let your leaves be unfurled. Shrubbery, I think you forgot that you're our favorite or not. There we go. Sorry, that was a pretty bad performance, but you get the idea. I think the panda is using the metaphor of a plant struggling for water and sunshine to really work through his own personal issues. Oh my god. Anyway, so thanks so much for watching today, everyone. If you would like me to try and make some more music for my animated film in the future, then just let me know in the comments and I'll give it another go. I think I'm probably going to make another song with Animal Crossing sound effects soon anyway, just because I like doing it. So there's not going to be a shortage of music content on the channel. So hopefully that's not a bad thing. For now though, I have many important business meetings and secret conferences to go through, and also I would like to play through the rest of Earthbound as well. So I'm gonna go. Okay, thanks so much for watching this episode, guys. See you all next time. Bye!